The Timbren SES system, not the off-road system, but the helper spring to help with ride height and replacing some of that spring rate that the manufacturers now fail to put in the HD trucks because there are too many Karens and Chads out there complaining about rough rides in heavy duty trucks. So now you've got to add aftermarket parts to get the intended spring rate you were looking for by buying an HD truck. But anyways, this is the most cost-effective solution for the problem I'm having pulling trailers with a soft spring rate. This won't engage until there's a load on there, so I maintain that lower spring rate or more comfortable ride, and then once I put a load on and these engage, then I will get that additional spring rate that I need to keep a level ride height and these bases. So out of the box you get the metal bracket and the two rubber pieces that you have to assemble. Quick note, there's a coating or something on the inside of the female end or the nut inside of this that it feels like you're cross-threading, but you're not. It's just gummed up, and I found running a thread chaser through there first. Otherwise you feel like you're cross-threading it if you don't do that. If you don't clean those threads out, they're gunked up from the factory for some reason. But these will go right where that yellow bump stops at. So that's what I'm getting ready to do, is switch them out. So this is just what you're upgrading to compared to factory. So the bump stop really, its main intent is to avoid metal to metal contact down there when your suspension's completely maxed out. So I guess it would offer a little bit of resistance, but it doesn't do anything as far as when you put a 1,200 pound tongue weight. That's what I'm putting on this truck, and it squats really bad, which is not what I bought a 3/4 ton to do. I bought it to handle a 1,200 pound load. But said the OEMs, they listen to Chads and Karens because there's more dumb people out there than there are smart people, and that's who they make the money off of. So that's just a size comparison. Alright, so just about a half hour's worth of work, and all you needed was a 15mm, 17mm 3/8 drive ratchet and an extension. You don't need a jack, you don't need to take the tires off, you don't need to jack it up. It took a half hour with just the hand tools I keep in the truck. But this is the driver's side. Let me scoot on under here, and there you go. There's a look at the passenger side. I know some people are going to say, oh, it's easier to jack it up and get the rear tires off, give yourself more room to work. But you're not measuring easy in the context of how much energy is expended. You're now having to locate wheel chocks, jack stands, physically jacking it up, taking all the bolts off, all the lug nuts off the tires, removing the tires, getting them out of the way. For what? No real added clearance. It's all in your mind. So got to stop thinking of easy in the context of I've got more room to work, to the context of how much energy am I going to expend doing it this way versus this way. But like I said, no jack needed. Got it done in a half hour with a ratchet. So there you go. Alright, so I had to buy the Timbren shim kits. I guess this is for their severe service deal or whatever, but I got to use these because when I installed the Timbrens last week, which you can see right there, you see the gap. That gap's supposed to be there so you can maintain your half-ton ride in a 3/4 ton truck, which I really don't care about. I bought a 3/4 ton to do 3/4 ton stuff. But anyways, when I put my trailer, which is a Grand Design Momentum 23G, it's supposed to have a minimum tongue weight of 1,242 pounds on it. It still left a decent squat to the truck. So hence, this is round 2 with the Timbrens. And I'm going to go ahead and put them shims on. What I'm going to do a little differently today is I'm actually using my DeWalt Impact. And because I'm going to be eating up all that extra space down in there, I will need to jack, whoop, there we go, the frame of the truck up away from the axle a little bit to put them back in, because I will no longer have that gap to play with when installing. So previous segment or last week when I said no jack necessary, that's if you're doing this installation. If you're doing a extreme service deal where you're adding the 1.5 inch of shims, you're gonna need to give yourself some clearance. So let me get started with that. So they're out. I already got one of them with the spacers in. I elected to go ahead and put both the 1/2 inch and 1 inch spacer in them. You can see the difference of what that does. But what I'm gonna probably lose is ride quality unloaded, because now there's going to be any gap at all. It's going to be very minimal, and it ain't going to take much for it to come against the bump stop. So I'm all right with this thing riding like a 3/4 ton should be empty. What I'm not all right with it is it not being able to handle a 1,242 pound tongue weight. So just thought I'd give a quick shot of what the difference is between the shims and not shimmed. I'm going to go ahead and get the other one put together, and then get the back into the truck pad, little clearance between the axle and the frame jacked up, and then get them installed. Alright, so you can see with the shim kit I have now no gap. Everything's now also riding on the helper spring, which means I have very likely lost all cushion or comfortable ride unloaded, which, to be honest with you, I am all right with. I was expecting a bad ride when I bought a HD truck, because I'm not buying it to be comfortable unloaded. I'm buying it to do a job of pulling a trailer. So I'm gonna test this out still. I may, after I drive this empty and put the trailer on it and do a test run with the trailer, I may come back and take that 1/2 inch spacer out and just leave the 1 inch to preserve some of the ride. But like I said, when I bought the truck, I was fully intending of having a very uncomfortable unloaded ride. So there's the Timbrens with the full shim kit. I will come back to you guys later after I do some driving and get the trailer put on this. Alright, I've just pulled into a parking lot back behind my condo, where the parking lot is straightish. Of course, every parking lot's designed with a little bit of slope one way or another for getting rain into retention areas, but definitely a lot flatter than my severely sloped garage or driveway. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try to measure and film at the same time my stock ride height. So getting to the wind ain't helping. So about to the center level. So I'm going to that top reveal point about where 41 is at. So it looks like we're 41 inches on the driver's side front. It's like 41 1/4. It's the same reveal point. Yeah, 41 1/4. Front driver or passenger. This would be passenger rear. Oops, sorry. Just trying to make sure I got this straight. Looks like we are at 43 1/2. And then driver's side rear. Looks like 43 and about 3/8. So for all intents and purposes, we're at 41 in the front and 43 1/2 in the back. Double check that measurement. Yep. 41 fronts, 43 1/2 rear, and that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm going to go ahead and put the hitch on this and head out to my dad's and see what kind of squat I get now. Alright, just running out to where my trailer's at, which is my dad's house. Check the squat on the truck now with the Timbren kits. The Timbren kit put on there with the shim kit. This is more of a ride quality, I don't know, update or analysis, whatever you want to call it. So, because of the shim kit, I've got full contact with the Timbren to the axle, so it now drives like a 3/4 ton truck. It's a more rigid, what I expected it to be. When I bought the truck, I fully intended not to have a half-ton quality ride. So when I first got the truck, I was pleasantly surprised on the unloaded ride quality, but when I got this trailer, found out it was at the sacrifice of being able to tow heavy loads at highway speed safely, so hence the Timbrens. But yeah, no, it isn't bad. It's just not as comfortable as a half-ton truck or a Cadillac. So I'm all right with it. So, I am gonna get to my dad's house, put the trailer on it, get it on some level ground, and we're gonna check the squat and take some more measurements. All right, so I got the truck and the trailer hooked up, and still a bit of squat, but I'm going to take the measurements right now. But it is a lot better than what it was. I was hoping to get just a little more out of these Timbrens, but it is what it is. But let's check it with the tape measure now. I got the most level piece of ground I could find out here. This isn't too bad, but in that parking lot we were 41 inches. Oh, let's get this straight. So we're at 41 3/4 on the front. And 41 3/4 in the back. So as far as ride height is concerned, at least the body, and of course this ground may not be perfectly level, so but it's looking like we pretty much got that level ride height out of the tow vehicle. And then I had set it to the trailer, and I actually set it to where it's a little nose down because it's empty right now. And when I put the four-seater, and the heaviest part of the four-seater is going to be the motor, and that's 1,800 pounds of total weight on that motor's going to end up somewhere back here between the fuel cell and the rear of the axle, so that's going to take some tongue weight off. And then this 30-gallon fuel cell, they mounted it right there, which is a solid 36 inches behind the rear axle. So there's going to be some additional weight that goes in here that's going to take some tongue weight off of this, and it won't be at so much of a downward angle, it'll be more level. So yeah, well, the only test I got left to do is go camping and try this out, see how it handles. Hopefully I can do highway speed this time all the way up there and back.